When Kia first arrived in the UK, it was a distinctly budget brand, known specifically for its 7-year warranty and rather bland cars that were, admittedly, very good value for money. You only need to look at the first generation Ceed, Sportage and Sorento for examples of that. This, however, is the 4th generation Kia Sorento, a car that very nicely demonstrates exactly how far Kia has come over the years. It's much more striking to look at than Kia models of old, and much more luxurious inside too. Prices have gone up as a result, emphasising that you're now meant to consider this car as a cut-price Audi, Volvo or Land Rover, rather than one of the cheapest large SUVs on the market. So, does this new Sorento do enough to live up to that billing and justify its higher price? Before I answer that, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the Car Buyer YouTube channel and hit that bell icon so you never miss a video. Those familiar with Kia's latest designs will recognise the shape of the Sorento's imposing grille, and the rear of the car is similar to that of the Telluride, a huge flagship SUV the brand sells in the States. Other than that, the Sorento is another muscular, chunky, big car, and one that has grown again for this latest generation. It's longer than the previous model, and the wheelbase, that's the distance between the front and rear wheels, has grown too, freeing up more space inside than ever before. And where better to start than in the back seat of this new Sorento, where you can really see where that length gives you so much space inside. This is a 7-seat SUV as standard, so it's already a great candidate for a large family, but it's the flexibility of the cabin that really adds to its appeal. I've got plenty of knee and headroom. I'm a smidge over 6 foot, and this car's panoramic roof only emphasises that sense of space. What's more, everyone back here gets their own cup holder and USB slot, and to make life more tolerable for people in the very back row, you can slide the seats forward. Pulling those seats forward is actually a really nice touch because it makes sitting back here almost bearable. Usually these 6th and 7th seats are only really suitable for kids, but in this case, I'm actually pretty comfortable. I wouldn't want to be here for hours on end, but you know what? All things considered, it's not too bad. It's unlikely most owners will need the extra 2 seats in place all of the time, and folding them down frees up a decent 608 litre boot in this hybrid model, or 616 litres if you go for the diesel, which should be enough space for the family luggage. Stow the middle row out of the way as well and you get almost 2,000 litres in the hybrid, and just over that figure in the diesel, which is more than you get in a Land Rover Discovery Sport. The Sorento is certainly comfortable, big and practical enough, but is it as plush as Kia wants us to think it is? Well, it certainly is in this top spec 4 model. These seats come wrapped in black Napa leather and they are cooled as well as heated. I've also got a heated steering wheel, I've got a 10.25 inch infotainment screen, I've got digital dials, a head-up display. This kit list is almost endless. Quality inside is really very good. There's lots of soft touch materials and there's metal and leather everywhere. But it's perhaps not as flash or fancy as a Volvo or an Audi. The infotainment screen and the centre console, they just look a little bit cluttered. There's so many buttons and shapes going on. There are 3 trim levels called 2, 3 and, as mentioned before, the 4 we have here. Trims 2 and 4 are only available with a hybrid powertrain, so if you want the diesel you have to opt for the 3. That's no bad thing, as the mid-range spec is the best mix of equipment and value. You get 19-inch alloy wheels, leather upholstery, keyless entry and go, a wireless phone charger, a power boot lid, adaptive cruise control, ambient lighting and the same 10.25 inch touchscreen as our 4 model instead of the 8-inch version on the entry-level 2. All versions of the Sorento come with 7 seats, LED headlights and that heated leather-trimmed steering wheel that I mentioned, automatic air conditioning and cruise control. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are also standard, as well as front and rear parking sensors, a reversing camera and plenty of safety kit, so it's really not the end of the world if the entry-level model is the only one within budget. In addition to that 2, 3, 4 trim structure, there's just 2 engine options to choose from, at least for the time being. There's a petrol-electric hybrid, that's the one we're in today, or a 2.2 litre diesel engine. There is a plug-in hybrid on the way. Here, an electric motor and a 1.6 litre petrol engine combine forces to produce a total of 227 brake horsepower, which is pretty generous for a car like this. 0 to 62 miles an hour takes 8.7 seconds, so the Sorento does feel pretty quick. That electric motor really helps when pulling away from a standstill, but you need to make sure you are pulling away from a standstill, because if you're just slowing for a junction or a roundabout and you put your foot down, there's a massive delay when the car decides whether it wants the electric motor, the petrol engine, or a mixture of the two. One thing that is surprising is how little this Sorento leans through the corners. It feels stable when you want quick change of direction, and the steering is really direct, so it means that the Sorento handles really quite nicely given quite how heavy and big this car is. It sounds like a good thing, and in many ways it is, but there is a slight trade-off when it comes to ride comfort, as it can feel a little bit jittery on some surfaces. While you might be surprised at how well this car handles for a big SUV, you might also be surprised how it's not quite as smooth as some of its rivals. Rivals like the Skoda Kodiaq are a little bit softer and therefore feel better equipped at dealing with rough roads and potholes. It seems an obvious thing to say, but most buyers in this area of the market won't be prioritising driving thrills, and it feels like Kia could have spent a little bit more time making this just a little bit more comfortable. But apart from that small hesitation pulling away from junctions, the hybrid system works really nicely. It actually prioritises EV more than you might expect, so you see pretty decent fuel economy figures. Officially, the hybrid will return 41 mpg with the smaller wheels of the 2 model, or 38.2 mpg with this car's 19-inch alloys. But over 100 miles of urban and motorway driving, our car is showing more than 40 miles per gallon on the trip. CO2 emissions stand at 158 and 168 grams per kilometre respectively. These figures aren't exceptional, but there aren't many cars of this size that do significantly better. The Sorento has long appealed to buyers as a tow car, so it's worth noting that the diesel model considerably outperforms the hybrid in this department. The 199 brake horsepower 2.2 litre diesel engine produces 450 Nm of torque and can manage a braked trailer weight of 2,500 kg versus the 1,650 kg of the hybrid. The diesel does 0-62 miles an hour in 9.1 seconds, so isn't much slower, and claims fuel economy of 42 mpg, so it's actually marginally more frugal. If you regularly drive the car fully loaded or with a caravan or trailer, the diesel is the one to go for, as the extra pulling power is useful. The latest Kia Sorento is a hugely practical SUV with room for the whole family, but what are the deal makers and the deal breakers? There is so much room in the back that even adults can sit comfortably in the 6th and 7th seats. The Sorento is proof that the days of Kias feeling basic and cheap inside are well and truly over. The hybrid powertrain is punchy and efficient, and there's a plug-in hybrid on the way too. The handling is surprisingly good, but it would have made more sense to make this car softer and more relaxed on the move. So there you have it, the new Kia Sorento, a car here at Car Buyer that we really like quite a lot. In terms of quality, technology and space, this car is a massive step up from its predecessor, and is now a model that can genuinely challenge cars like the Land Rover Discovery and the Volvo XC90 from brands that typically are seen as much more premium than Kia. And on top of that, you get that class-leading 7-year, 100,000 mile warranty. Okay, in top spec trim, it does seem a bit expensive, but in 2 or 3 spec, this new Sorento is much better value for money. And in that case, it feels much easier to justify alongside more mainstream rivals like the Skoda Kodiaq and the Seat Tarraco. If you're looking for a practical 7-seater that's a competent performer, this new Sorento should definitely be on your shortlist. It is, in fact, one of the best new cars of 2020. If you found this video useful, then why not watch our Skoda Kodiaq review and our SUVs playlist. Thank you for watching.